Hello, viewers, and welcome back. I noticed the last podcast I wasn't looking in the camera. It's kind of weird to look way over there, but the whole video it looked like I was looking to the left, and my husband and I replayed it and said, should I release it or not? So I did. Welcome to the Creative Ewe podcast. I decided to do it tonight in my home. You can see behind me that it's dark. So we'll try it. We'll see how it goes. I have things to show you that I've been doing, some pictures of what other people have been doing. This is the Retro Rogue shrug made out of Cadia Azteca yarn. And so, sometimes I talk about my little grandson. He's so cute. And one of the things he says now, if I say, let's bake brownies or let's send a card to your sister, he'll go, okay, let's do it. And he's already jumping up to do it. So I think that's a good motto to engage in. So one of the first things I wanted to show, we did a workshop. And some of the gals that came, I wish I could figure out how to insert the video because they did neat things. This is a free pattern called Winter's Coming by Cal, K-A-L, Manic, M-A-N-A-C. It's done with a chunky yarn. And I had some yarn at the shop called Chunky with Wool. And then I had some variegated chunky yarn. So if I can't insert the video, I will put a little video on YouTube, just kind of like a video show and show it. But this is how the pattern told you to do it. It was a lot of fun. I made this big bodacious pom-pom out of a pom-pom maker. The second hat, I had plenty of yarn left over, but the pom-pom did take up a lot. The second hat, because the graph showed my light color as a dark, I got mixed up and I did it the opposite as far as the colors. But what do you think? Do you like it better? I think the pom-pom that I'll pick will be this dark. The colors in this are blues, like purples, greens. But two-handed Fair Isle goes so fast because you're working with both hands and you're done before you know it. Sue in our class had never even knitted in the round before. And if you get to watch the video, she's just moving right along. And since then, she's been doing other items as well. So if you've never done Fair Isle, this would be a good pattern for you to try. Again, it's called Winter's Coming. And if you, want to relax, grab a drink. I have these old-fashioned cups. When people come to our house, they say, you still have those? I still have the Garfield set. And people think they're really cute. And then they say, oh, I wish I wouldn't have gotten rid of mine that I had. So what have I been doing? I don't know if I can get her to jump up. But that's Lily, my new little dog. And my grandson wanted to call her Little Sunflower, so we do. And she has a permanently cocked neck. They think maybe she had a stroke. And then along the way, I realized that she's deaf. She would go to the shop with me and just sleep like the living dead. And then when I would call her, when it was time to go home, come on, Lily, it's time to... And when I would finally nudge her, she would jolt and look all confused. Finally, when I figured out that she can't hear, that made sense. But we would put the two dogs out at night and Hartley would come in and Lily wouldn't. And one night I went out looking for her with the flashlight and I was like right beside her shouting her name and she didn't even hear me. This is Patches. I decided that the yarn shop would foster a cat from Good Old Tales. I wish you could see her beautiful colors. The first couple days she didn't do much but sit, and I'll see if I can find another picture then. Here's a new customer, Jay. He did his first hat and he forgot his pattern and he just kind of made it up, and he said that he can ride his bike 60 to 70 miles, but it's knitting that really energizes him. This is a sweater, let me see if I can get it better, by Alice Plummer that Margaret Ann did. I can't quite get the lace pattern. And let's see what else I have to show you. Ruth Serena Brown, after 4 years, finally got this sock done. Hallelujah. She is so proud of herself. She went home and immediately started the second one. And then this is Lynn, and Lynn got hooked on these Noro striped scarves, which they are so fun. You take 2 different colors and you do 2 rows of one color, let the yarn drop, 2 rows of another color, and you get these like very unique colors. It's just enthralling and addictive and obsessive and whatever words you can think of. I was looking to see if I had any more pictures of the cat that showed off her pretty colors, but maybe I don't. She has been quiet, but she can also give you a mouthful. And she's just starting to kind of walk around the shop a little bit and is learning to play. One thing I've noticed about animals that are neglected, they don't know how to play. Wasn't part of their life. You got to kind of meet all their needs, and then they'll get involved with playing. So I had another gal, Cynthia, that was coming into the shop to buy roving to do a faux pebble rug. And then the idea kind of grew, and she wanted to make a rug for her grandson. So she got the roving, and then she would make it into little pebbles. And then she decided maybe to get some blue and do like a little fish pond. So there's one picture. It was meant to be a rug. Now I'm not sure with the little plants and things, but isn't that just darling? I was just amazed by it. So that was Cynthia Sapoli. Great work, Cynthia. And I thought I would first show you some other Fair Isle I've been doing and a book. And then I want to show you some new products and some notions, specifically point protectors. And so this is a leisure art book that sells for $9.95. And in the past at the shop, we've taken variegated skeins and done a lot of the Fair Isle, but I decided I was just going to follow the book. So I picked out a bunch of colors of Ella Rae Cozy Soft that I thought would go together. So a kiwi, peacock blue that's much brighter than in the picture. This is a hot pink, not a red. And this shows upright, but that's actually like kind of like a muted spring green. You may have heard me say this before, but if you're not sure how your colors are going to look, one of the things you can do is take a black and white shot of your colors. If they look the same in black and white, you're not going to get very good contrast. So maybe back to the drawing board and choose another color. So this is my first one. And I do have some rolling here, but I'm sure I'll get that straightened out. It's interesting, on here, my pink looks more like a red on the camera, but it's a quick knit. This is the children's size. And what I haven't finished yet, you gather the top and then you make this cute little braid. So there's the gathered top. And then I'll gather that and do my little braid. I wanted to see like how many hats can I get out of these 5 skeins. So I started a second hat. If you haven't seen it before, this is called corrugated ribbing, and it's knit 2, purl 2. And again, when you do it two-handed, it really goes fast. So this is going to be the same pattern using the same yarns but in different sequences, and this one is the adult size, but I wouldn't mind doing a lot of the hats in this book, and they give you some instructions. I think that one is really pretty, and you know, I don't want to turn the show into an infomercial, but any of the things that I show, I have at the shop. And so if you want them, you can call me, you can write. It's creativeyarns@gmail.com with a double E, Creative Ewe, E-W-E. That is cute. So that will be something that I'll be working on, is more Fair Isle. So when you own a yarn shop, I heard a lady say who was closing her shop, yay, now I'll be able to knit the things that I want to knit. When you have a shop, the yarn has to sell. And if it's not selling, you kind of have to gear your projects to yarn that's not selling. And one of the things that I've had to do is pick colors that aren't selling and figure out what to do to make them attractive. Now, some people say, you know, if a yarn doesn't sell, it's not going to sell. And now I don't know if I agree with that, but there's the way the yarn looks, and then there's the fabric it makes. Garter stitch looks different with variegated yarn than than stockinette stitch, than other patterns. So this is like a broken rib, and unfortunately, I hate to point out mistakes, but right there I did an extra stockinette row, and you can tell it actually kind of dents in. So I think what I'm going to do is take a thread and do fake little horizontal purl stitches to make it look okay. But once I knitted up this color, I really like it. It has chocolate brown, oranges, light blues, medium blues, and the blues are actually brighter than what the color shows. And it is always enchanting to take a yarn that nobody's buying, that nobody likes, and then to knit it up and say, you know what, this is really cute. This pattern is by Laura Spargo Anderson. It's called Biddy Foothill. Biddy Foothill. This is the one I just purchased for the size 2 to 12. You can do it with long sleeves, and it actually was a quick knit. I have all this left, so maybe next podcast I will have some little socks made or a hat. So that is the Bitty Foothill pullover. She also has a pattern that's a Henley that's really cute, and it looks good in little girl colors too. So that is that. We did a knit along at the shop with a lacy scarf, and unfortunately I forgot my 2 scarves that I made, but this is the pattern, my so-called Life Lacy Scarf by her name isn't on here and I don't want to pronounce it wrong. It is a free pattern. What we did, we took 2 thin yarns and put them together, and I wish I could show you everybody's results, but I had the idea too to take Louisa Harding Lucy in all of these amazing colors and just knit from the front, from both ends of the ball, and just do it double. You do get this really nice, almost to me like a honeycomb type effect. It's almost impossible to mess this pattern up. It's knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together. Knit 1, yarn over, knit 2 together. And I don't know if you can see all the pretty colors, but it's beautiful. You just cast on a multiple of 3. So maybe next time I'll have the other ones to show you. Whoops. And then I made my grandson a pair of fingerless mitts, and I did them with 2, with a skein of Cascade 220 Wave that changes shades of blue, and so the 2 mittens came up 2 different shades of blue. I wasn't really crazy about that, but because he's into dragons and dinosaurs and all of that, I decided to just crochet him some spikes, and he loved it. First day he got them, he lost them, then we found them, then we misplaced one. So now I need to find the other one. And his brother put in a request for one too. Those 2 boys came on Friday night. They wanted to spend the night. We got up and went to the Amish market on Saturday morning. Nolan tends to be super picky with food, so he didn't eat the omelet. And then when we got to the shop, of course, he's hungry. So there's a diner right across the street, just kind of like an old-fashioned homey diner. And I decided to send the 2 boys over by themselves. So Nolan is 8, Tobin is 5. They're really cute together. And they're kind of like Barney and Fred on the Flintstones. Nolan has dark hair, Tobin has light hair. And I took them to the end of the payment, gave them a kiss, sent them across. I gave Nolan money in an envelope because I learned from my children, don't ever give a child just a dollar bill, a $20, whatever, because it gets lost. And a man and his wife that were at the diner said we watched them cross over, and we just had such an enjoyable time watching these 2 boys. They ordered pancakes, and Nolan said this was the best day of my life. And Tobin told me the following week, Grandma, some people told us we were adorable. We're adorable. So that was a fun thing in our life. Because I knit a lot, I turn on a lot of movies, trying to occupy my mind while I'm knitting. On YouTube, there's a movie company called Encourage TV, all one word. And they put a lot of Christian movies out. And there was a movie that I really, really liked called Different Drummers. And it's an old-fashioned movie set back when I went to school. Check it out. Let me know how you liked it, because I really liked it. This is a new yarn out from Sugar and Cream that I just thought I would show you. So it has the scrubby type yarn in between the regular yarn. And I thought I'd do a little segment on point protectors and just show you some of the things that, and just also some neat little notions that are available. So this is called a wrist ball holder. So even today, I was trying to knit and my yarn kept falling on the floor. This would be the thing I need. Years ago when I was in nursing school and I went to the hospital, and this woman got off the elevator and she was knitting, and her poor son, who looked like he was about 10, had to follow behind her, unwinding her ball. This is what she needed. That's what he needed to avoid humiliation. They also, I'm trying not to rattle paper, sell these things called key dots, and they have cute little knitting phrases. I pause for yarn. There's one for breast cancer. I didn't bring all of them. There's probably about 5 of them. This one is a sheep. I'm sorry, I'm making a lot of noise here. Tink. Knitwit. And they're nice because I always know which key is my door key and so forth. A handy tool which sells for under $2 can be used as a cable needle, has a little crochet hook to pick up stitches. It's actually a size 3 needle at the other end. Once you have one of these, you people buy several because you wonder how you got along without it. When customers come to the store and they say, I can't thread a regular needle, I can't get the yarn in, this is a really nice set of needles to have because you just put the yarn right in the hole, and they are called Susan Bates finishing needles. Prime needles, I guess that's how you pronounce it. You can see have a little scoop at the end. You'll never have problems with yarn splitting again because you just scoop the yarn right up. I now have these in circular. This is also something I started carrying, rainbow elastic. So maybe your sock yarn doesn't have nylon and you want to just add this to the heel. Now I thought I'd show you a variety of point protectors. So these are for use with double point needles that you just put your needles right in there. I should have brought the double pointed tube that when you're knitting you put that in, but I forgot it. This is a Susan Bates put little stockings. And if you aren't using point protectors, why not? Because you could avoid a big disaster. These are Hiya's little point protectors, little panda bears, knitting stockings, and then they give you a free pattern on the back. The holes look really tiny, but believe me, your needles fit in there. Most point protectors will tell you what size needles. So this says US 5 to 10. I also carry these ones at the shop that sell for just like 60 cents, and they have two openings. I'll show you sometime. Some people really like the coiled ones that fit over both needles. Some people are driven to these. These, you can also plug up double points and use your double points as a single pointed needle. And the cap color tells you which side of the knitting you're working on, right or wrong side. There are, and you're saying, wow, we never knew they had all of these. I might have left some in my bag. There's some that look like balls of yarn. These are like triangles that just fit on the end. These cute little ones are for double points, and they look like little knitted sweaters. And then these are just very basic. They look like traffic cones, just very basic little point protectors. Here's another cute little notion. We're going to have a pom-pom party at the shop. This is a 5-in-1 tool. You can make tassels, pom-poms, cords, friendship bracelets, and weaving. So it should be a lot of fun. Yeah, really a unique design, so I'm eager to try that. Okay, so what else? When I had the trunk show from Louisa Harding, I may have shown these, I'm not sure. I didn't finish them yet, but it's coming. So this is Amatola Grande, which is a Louisa Harding yarn in birthday color and tiger lily. And a pattern which costs under $4 on Ravelry by Susan Ashcroft, who I really like her patterns, called Fern Frost. It's a very easy pattern to just get going. You're supposed to do a provisional cast on and do an infinity, but I actually like that curvy little end, and so I'm going to keep that. So this would be a heavy worsted yarn, and it's really soft and nice. So that is that. I always have a lot of projects in the works, and this is something that I started hoping to do a gift, and this is called Big Wave by Heidi Kurmeyer. I think that's how you say her name. I don't know if you can see it there, but the pattern has little holes across the top, and it's a pay pattern. I think it's $6 or $7, and I like the construction. This is actually more of a taupe, a pretty brown, but it's showing up on the camera as like an army green, which is really weird. There's my openings. When you bind off, these are my straps. So I think I'll be going around and around and around, and then at some point I'll be finished. So I wanted to give a little blurb about gauge and how to do gauge. So let's just say you're knitting with a worsted yarn. Not all worsted yarns are equal when you knit them. You could have two worsted yarns that both say they are knitted up as 20 stitches per inch on an 8 needle, and yet when you knit them up, they're different. A softer yarn will knit up tighter, believe it or not, than a firm filling yarn. Very smooth metal needles can actually produce a tighter gauge, believe it or not. The stitch pattern matters, so when you do your swatch, you need to do it in the stitch pattern. For instance, garter stitches have less stitches per 4 inches than, say, stockinette stitch. If you're measuring width, you don't want to do it while it's on the needles because it's different, and needles can differ between companies. So a size 8 needle in this could be a little bit different than a size 8 needle in this brand. You want to measure the width in the middle, not on the ends. You want to lay the swatch down and let it lay flat overnight so that the stitches either relax or contract. So that's just a little, my knitting tips of the day about measuring your gauge, because if you're going to go to all that time, you want something that fits. Not even hats. I mean, it's really discouraging I've known some people that have made 3-4 hats and they still don't have a hat that fits. So usually I'm not very good at quick comebacks, but I was kind of proud of myself. Deb, who joined the Fair Isle group, she likes to get on me about stuff, and she was trying to cast on a cow and she ran out of yarn. That's frustrating, but you can avoid that by, if you're going to use 2 balls anyway, use a strand from each ball. So let's say you have a strand from each ball, do your slip knot, put it on your needle, and then do your long tail cast on with both strands. And when you're finished, just cut the one that you don't need. She goes, oh, now you tell me that. Why didn't you tell me that before? So she goes back to casting on. I think she does it the way I've told her. And just a little side note here, another little perk that you can get out of that, I'm going to do a seed stitch cowl. This is Debbie Bliss Riva. I think the brown, which is really a deep dark brown, you're getting more of a reddish looking brown. This is more of a oak color, but it's showing up kind of yellowish. Because I cast on with 1 strand of each, I don't know if it's going to, I have a lighter cast on edge, which just makes it look nice, just gives it a little, but again, this is one of these things where these colors aren't selling. So I thought maybe if I put them together, and so we'll see. I'll show it to you the next time. But so Deb does this type of cast on, then she's supposed to knit to purl to for like 2 inches. So she gets like 1 inch done. She says this is off because at the end I'm supposed to have 2 stitches left to purl and I don't. And I said, so you're getting 4 stockinette stitches together? And she said, right. She said, if you wouldn't have been telling Holly all of those, sharing all those jokes and telling me, well, I didn't want to just show them to Holly and not to her. She said, I wouldn't have messed this up. And so, like I said, I'm not usually good at, quick comebacks, but I said, oh, thank you, Deb, because I am so tired of being perfect. I am so happy that I finally messed up. And she laughed. She couldn't think of a comeback. This is Noro Taiyo, T-A-I-Y-O. All the Noro yarns mean really nice things. This one, I think, is Sunlight in the Woods. And I found a pattern. I'll share it with you next podcast. It's a free pattern. And it's just a little short sleeve cardigan. So I have my stitch markers. I increase for the sleeves, the front, the back. And all I have to do is keep knitting and I'll soon be finished. The colors are really, really pretty. And this is a cotton silk, I think maybe a little bit of wool blend. And I think probably the last thing that I want to share is something that I started and then put away. I have this sparkly yarn. It's a discontinued Louisa Harding yarn called Oriel, and it's surprisingly quite soft. I didn't expect it to be so soft. It's knitting up great. It's a DK weight. It's going to look different when it's blocked. This is a $4 pattern by Stitch Nerd called Resting Time. And you do sections of garter stitch and then sections of lace. And I don't have that many stitches on, but it's going pretty fast. And I'm happy with it. I can't wait to keep going and finish it. Okay. And that is a free pattern, but I don't have the name in my head right now. So I hope all of you are doing fine and enjoying the signs of spring. People in the past told me that Valentine's Day is the day that birds mate. And I mean, even 4:30 in the morning, I can open up the back door and hear the birds just singing the most beautiful, clear notes. And my tulip bulbs are all coming up, and I can't wait. Now, will we get another snowfall? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. The kids would really like a snowfall because we really haven't had much. Really haven't had much snow at all. So, in closing, I'll just add a few personal things. My little grandson comes in the morning, and he seems to be savvy and uncannily lucky at games. So we have a dartboard. We went downstairs to play darts. We set it at 300. It counts backwards. His first 3 darts, he had something like 165 points. He beat me on the 4th round. He needed a 38. He got a double 19 to win it. So I just laugh and say to my husband, I can't even beat a 5-year-old. So we had a rematch, same thing. He needed a 38. He nailed a double 19, and he was very, very happy. Oh. So share with me what you're knitting. I had the name of the winner of the yarn, and I stuck it up here, and I said, for sure, I won't forget it. I'll say it right away so that I remember. And then I started podcasting and I started talking, and for sure I don't remember it. So let me see if it's possible that I can find it. Oh, there's another picture of Patches. That's her beautiful tail and some of her rich colors. My sister likes cats, and I like to share her pictures. So, nope, I think her last name is Yount, Yount. So if that's correct, then message me and I'll make sure you get your yarn. I'm going to be doing another trunk show with Louisa Harding, and I love her yarns, and they'll send me things that I haven't had before. Oh, I know what I wanted to say is that the Pennsylvania has an organization to help foster children. Let me see if I can find my paper here. And there are over 8,000 children in the foster care system in Pennsylvania, age 14 and over, children who in a few years will age out of this system. They're going to put on a program at University of Pittsburgh at Johnstown in June. Last year they had a knitted blanket and they auctioned it off, and one child got it. But this year they would like to have a blanket for each of the 100 recipients, kind of like their first adult blanket. And so they will give you the yarn, they will give you the supplies that you need, free of charge. They will mail them to you. And again, I thought I had the paper and now I don't see it. So again, if you have a desire to do that, here it is. Ta-da! This is the information. And any questions sent to Kathleen Swain. You can take a screenshot of that, or I'd be happy to send it to you. If you want to give me a call or write to me, and they are 8 by 8 inch squares. You can send them. You can send the squares to them to assemble, or we will support each fiber artist by sending kits containing yarn, crochet hooks, and knitting needles, instruction sheets, and templates. So, or if you just want to do squares, we could all get together and do that. But I think it's really, really nice, and it's nice to share your talent. Yeah. So, what have I been reading? I see there's a trend now to have books like The Farmer's Daughter, The So-and-so's Wife. So I'm reading a book called The Centurion's Wife, which has been really good. And I'm also reading a book called, come here, Hartley. And I'm also reading a book called Mrs. Lincoln's Seamstress. Come here, sweetheart. I wish I could show him to you. He's such a big, beautiful boy. And I don't know if I can tip the camera here. Hartley. Hey, Hartley. Hey, come here. Come here, boy. There's my kind of a little picture of my big, beautiful boy. And he is doing great. He is just thriving. He and the little dog are kind of partners in crime, getting in my pocketbook, trying to tear open things and get treats out. Little Lily is just the sweetest. People have said she's the cutest dog they've ever seen, but she is not a healthy dog. And she likes going to the shop. She's ready at the front door when I'm ready, but she has tummy problems, and she was paper trained, but now we're having problems off the paper, and she has a bad heart, and yet she's so dear. So I didn't take her to the shop today because I was worried about accidents. And somebody said to me, "Oh, you gave her back already?" And I'm like, no, I did not. No, that is not part of the plan at all. So, and if you hear of anybody that wants beautiful cat, Patches is at our shop. She's available through Good Old Tales, which you can find on Facebook or on their webpage. So I think I've blathered on enough, and I'll see you soon with the Knitting Fever Trunk Show, and I hope you're happy knitting. And just a word about the coronavirus. You know, God told us that these things would happen, to look up, our redemption draweth near. So don't let these things unsettle you. Just remember that God loves you and cares for you, and He's there for you. So shine, baby, shine. See you next time.